We are back with another, I guess you can say, a reaction style video. And I saw the reception that I got on the one that I did on Myra. And I also saw the feedback. There was some people in there that was upset because I kept pausing the video and playing the video and not letting the video play completely out. Listen, it's a reaction style video. But what I'll do this time is, first off, I'm going to still kind of do a little bit of the same thing. Hopefully I won't have to pause it as much because the video isn't as long. And what I'll do is I'll leave the link to the actual video. I'll pin it at the top of the comments. That way, if y'all want to just watch the whole thing play out without any commentary from me, you can go ahead and feel free to do so. But we are back, and this time we're talking about Candace Owens again. And as y'all can see by the title, it says Candace Owens doesn't believe she's a sellout. So shout out to Kid Gravity, because this is how I actually discovered this video. Again, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even know half the stuff this woman is even talking about. People have to actually bring stuff to me about her because I don't seek it out. Where she goes on this rant talking about she mentions two celebrities. I'm not going to say who, but you know who they are when you hear their names, and talking about how they're sellouts and how she literally genuinely doesn't believe she's a sellout. She feels that she is a perfect candidate to be a spokesperson for Black people, knowing damn well we know she's not, and she knows it that she's not either, especially with the stuff that she said over the years. But I'm gonna go ahead and get into it and just let her ramble, because that's all she's going to do. That's all she's going to do is babble and ramble for like 2.5 minutes.
They're just going, well, we don't actually have to earn their vote. We're just going to find a person that they like, a person that they call queen, like Beyonce, or a person that they call king, like LeBron James, and encourage them to speak out on behalf of us. What? So
she's already talking about how she doesn't like when people get the label of queen and she's Beyonce, and she says king and she is LeBron James. Let me just say something right here. You can easily tell Candace Owens has a gripe with Beyonce and LeBron James, because every time she brings up Black celebrities or famous Black people, those are the default two people she always brings up, especially LeBron James. Again, two people that don't know who this woman is from a can of paint. They never mention her. They don't have any issue with her, but for some reason she always has an issue with them, and she always has to bring their name up because she knows her base doesn't like them, especially LeBron James. They really have an issue with him. And they have an issue with Beyonce as well. Like those two people, they feel like if we can knock them off of their square or their pedestal, then they'll be fine. That's why they love to like get at a lot of top Black celebrities, because they get tired of hearing about them, because it's an envious thing. It's an envy thing. How dare they get to this level? They felt the same way about Michael Jackson low-key back in the day, but the thing is, the internet wasn't around back then. But I could only imagine, if it was, what Candace Owens probably would have to say about a Michael Jackson if this was back then and she had a platform. I could only imagine how she would talk. But then she mentions us. This is the same woman that barely wants to be called Black, or just started calling herself Black this year. Remember, she had her Blackest week ever this year at the end of February, Black History Month, and it only lasted like 2 weeks before she went back on her usual tirade. I tell people, this woman goes back to her factory settings. Whenever she gets beaten down by the other side, she kisses her at who asks if she kissed so much, and her factory settings is to degrade and beat down on Black Americans in particular. And who was she talking about in this one? Who did she mention? LeBron James and Beyonce, two famous Black Americans.
Is being for Black culture? Is it that? Is it voting in margins of 97% for stupid, for people to lie on you, for people to lie to you and get caught over and over and over again?
She's one to talk about lying over and over again, because how many times has this woman lied, especially on Black people, to appease her base?
Feel like it's really time for Black Americans to wake up to this nonsense. I'm so sick of it. I mean, Malcolm X was exactly right when he said that the media is the most powerful entity on earth. It will quite literally have you hating the people that you should be supporting, and supporting the people that you should be hating.
Well, and that's another thing I've noticed, and I don't know if y'all picked up on that either. A lot of these individuals like Candace Owens have been spewing Malcolm X lately. Remember, they were heavy on the Martin train. Like, I mean, you couldn't keep Martin Luther King's name out of their mouth for anything. But now, as you notice, you've seen them post a lot of Malcolm X clips when he talks about liberals. And the thing is, they only tell the half part with the liberal part. But he said liberals and conservatives. He didn't just say liberals, but let people like her tell it. It's only the liberal part. No, Candace is the conservative part too that he was addressing as well. But they conveniently, but no surprise, leave that part out. Candace, if Malcolm X was alive, he would have a disdain towards you too for the stuff that you said, because you're nothing but a backstabbing, money grubbing, and that's putting it lightly. This woman grifts wherever. This woman is like a grift hopscotch artist. That's literally all she does, is she hopscotch from one grip to the next, wherever she can feel she can get paid. And like I said, default settings, factory settings, that's where she's at. So to make it seem like Malcolm X only talked about one side when he was talking about both sides, that's ridiculous. In the words of ZZ, that's egregious. It's very, very egregious. But I'm not surprised, because again, what is the role of Candace to do? To be the mouthpiece, to be the shield for her base. If she says it, they'll feel comfortable because they don't have to say it and be worried that someone's going to call them a racist or anti-black. Well, guess what? Candace may be quote unquote melanated herself, but she's still very anti-black, especially anti-black American. And she does it with such ease. And she thinks she's never wrong. I keep telling y'all about the people that think they're the smartest Negro in the room. Be wary of them. She's definitely one of them.
Is the answer to that really no? So, I really do.
Turn your phone off, Candace. You're on air.
I want to say that I am just so upset when I see Black Americans still falling for this same game, seeing women falling for this same game in particular. And then you look at Kamala campaign's spending report, and it just looks completely fraudulent. She allegedly spent $100 million on marketing firms. Okay. She spent $15 million on event production, $4 million on private jets, which is incredible. 107 days of campaigning, $4 million on private jets to go where?
You want to know what's so crazy? She's complaining about this, but given the opportunity, if Candace could do it, she would do it in a heartbeat. Remember, and I have to echo something that KG said in his post. It's funny she's talking about this, but remember at a time when Candace was really on the up and up, her base was saying, calling her Queen Candace, or bow down to Queen Candace, or Candace is so smart, Candace for president. Oh, Trump needs to find a spot for Candace. They're actually saying that now. I was reading through the comments. They were saying they need to find a spot for Candace. They were saying that Candace needs to be his press secretary or something like that. Listen, only in their dreams and in her dreams would that ever be a reality, because Trump is not picking Candace to do anything. As a matter of fact, at the time of me recording this video on November 17, 2024, I looked at the cabinet picks that Trump has already, and I don't see not one black face in it. Now, will that change? Possibly. Will I expect it? No. And if it does, her face won't be in it. The most melanated person I've seen in his cabinet so far is Ramen Noodles, and that's a whole nother basket case in and of itself.
To go where? All of it to me is just the most ridiculous. When I just see it, it's such. And
also to add on to that, I forgot to mention when they was calling her Queen this and Queen that, and she needs this and she needs that. Notice Candace didn't come back and rebut, and she didn't even come out and say, and she could have said this. You know what? I'm flattered that y'all call me this, or I'm flattered that y'all want me to have this position, but I'm not qualified for those titles. She never said that. She just agreed with it. Or she didn't say anything at all, which also leads me to believe that she just simply agreed with it, knowing damn well she's not qualified to do anything in that White House.
Such an insult. It is such an insult to their voters, and yet many of their voters still can't see it. Maybe in the future they will. Obviously, we're starting to see that black men are breaking away from this, but black women still seem to be in this stranglehold.
Because remember years ago, what was it? Candace tried to do that Blexit thing, which, by the way, she copied that name from something that was going on overseas, but we ain't gonna get into all that. Where she was trying to lure black people away from the Democratic plantation to the Republican Party / plantation. Because notice the Republican Party, they're not gonna call what they got going over there a plantation, but literally it's the same exact thing. I just did a video of Triple P not too long ago about a black man on TikTok who said that a white Trump supporter told him he was nothing more than a vote. And then you look at the cabinet picks and it's like, maybe he's right. You were nothing more than a vote. You're nothing more than a vote, a mascot, and a mouthpiece for them. That is it. Just know your role and stay in your lane. But remember, again, Candace was doing the Blexit thing. So we see her hustle. We see what she's doing. See, she's not okay with black people especially black women, so overwhelmingly voting for the Democratic Party. But she'll be fine if they overwhelmingly vote for the other side and still not get anything. Candace, what have you received? Besides a trinket here and a trinket there, what has this woman actually received of substance? Like, what will Candace Owens' legacy be when she takes her last breath? I couldn't tell you, except for the fact that she's been grifting this whole time and that she's been staunchly anti-black. She thinks she knows everything, and she thinks she can speak on our behalf when she knows that she can't. She can barely speak on her behalf, but she thinks she can be the mouthpiece for us. Notice she said us and mentioned Black American and us in the same paragraph. But like I said, PC loves people like her. They love a Candace Owens. They love a Brandon Fakem. They love a Greg Foreman. They love an ABL. They love the Hodge twins, the Cartier family, so on and so forth. Barely know what they're talking about, but that's how they like them. They don't like anyone that's too smart that can outthink them, because then you become the uppity Negro. That's sort of like almost what happened with Candace because of what happened with her over there at the Daily Wire. You see, they gave her the boot.
Culture seems to have them, and they really do believe that they're so intellectual, and the racism is around every single corner, and the frauds and the sellouts are people like me.
The frauds and the sellouts are people like you, Candace. You are. Everything about this woman is a fraud, a fraudstress, and a sellout. This is exactly why she got the title of coonstress. And black people, and I have to say this again, don't fall for her when she says something that you might agree with, or something where she falls into the broke clock theory of being broke. A broke clock is right twice a day. Don't fall for it, because anybody could have said that, but know where she's coming from. Remember, we have on video where she sat with Tucker Carlson when he used to be over Fox News, where she said that black people were the most murderous people in America. She said that out of her mouth. I don't know how some black people didn't catch that, but y'all caught when Kamala Harris said she wasn't going to do anything specifically for black people. We all heard that. How did y'all miss what she said? And she said that back in 2016 when she was on the rise. I will never forget when she said that.
Can pull a racist narrative from thin air where it doesn't exist, but when it actually is in their face, they try to avoid it at all costs, especially when the perpetrator is a black person against another white person, which obviously happens more often in this country, given the fact that black Americans are the most murderous group in America by rate.
As a matter of fact, I think the last time I talked about Candace, I inserted that audio in there. I might have to insert it again just in case you might have forgotten. This woman is not a friend of ours. She's not an ally. She's not a sister. She might call herself that, but she's not. Look at who she hangs around. Look who her base is. Look who she caters to. Look who she talks to, and look who she talks down on. That should tell you right then and there what she's all about. But for her to sit up there and think that she's not a sellout, and she says it right there in so many words that she doesn't believe she's a sellout, this woman is delusional.
When you're quite literally spending your money to go see in concert every single one of these frauds and sellouts. In fact, you have been so trained that you call these sellouts kings and queens. That's embarrassing.
No, you're embarrassing. As a matter of fact, I'll take it past embarrassing. This woman is a disappointment. Not to me, though, because I could care less, but maybe to her lineage. I'm not sure. Good. You know what? I'm glad. I'm so glad I am not related to this woman, because had I had been, she would have got cut off a long time ago. Any kind of family function there would have been, there would be no invites. I would probably walk past her on the street and act like I don't know her. Honestly, and be honest with you, in this reality, since I'm not related to her, if I was to see her on the street, I would still walk past her like I didn't know. I wouldn't even engage. I would just keep it moving like she was just another random on the street and let her pass me by as I pass her by.
Honestly, change something about yourself. Stop calling these people kings and queens. Have some basic self-respect.
This is her doing the finger wagging. Remember what I told y'all about the finger wagging? And look at that finger placement. Y'all notice what I talked about the finger wagging when it came to Barack Obama and Michelle Obama and Magic Johnson, the ones that I talked about at the week before the election with the finger wagging thing. Tell me that Candace is not doing the finger wagging right here, where she's telling black people who to and who to not listen to. She's telling us to not listen to, and I'm gonna just use the people she used as an example, people like Beyonce and LeBron James. And you know what? I don't get my ideology lessons from celebrities. I don't. But for her to sit up there and call herself and say that she herself is not a sellout, and to tell us to who to and who not to listen to, in other words, don't listen to them, but listen to people like myself. We're not listening to you either, Candace. What kind of advice can we possibly get from you except for how to not stand on their square, how to grift, because you're very good at that. She should, if she was to teach a class on that, then she would probably be successful because she's made it to an extent. Nothing to keep her, hence why she's not at the Daily Wire anymore, hence why she's not at PragerU anymore. She has to go on, she has to be independent. If this was to fall, what is she going to fall back on? Nothing. I can't wait for the day that this woman becomes a distant memory, a fart and piss in the wind. That is the day that I am waiting for.
Genuinely, that is all that I want to say on that topic. They're just
okay, so that's the end of that. I pretty much got out what I need to say about that, but I can't wait to see what y'all have to say in the comments. Be safe, be one.